Hey everybody, this is Chuck Marone with Strong Towns. Last video I'm going to shoot from Amesbury, Massachusetts here. I'm out on the edge of town again. I want to share a discussion we had about when to build a parking garage, when to build a parking ramp, when to build elevated parking. Because when you are a small town like this one and you are going through a phase transition, the goal is to transition to something where everybody who comes to your city doesn't need two cars. Everybody who lives in your city doesn't need two cars. Right now, if you're going to live here, you're pretty much, if you're a family and you got, if you got two of you, and then if you have any kids, you're going to have two cars because things are spread out. You've got to, drive somewhere during the day. If one of you has the car, the other one might need it. It becomes really logistically difficult to get around. If you want to participate in society here in Amesbury. So almost every family winds up with two cars. This is a horribly expensive ante for families to have to pay to participate in society. And what it does is it tends to suppress the overall wealth and prosperity, the overall upside of the community. From an economic development perspective, one of the short-term strategies we tend to look at is how do we bring people in from the outside to shop at our businesses, to fill our employee roles, all this stuff. And you get stuck in this cycle, and many, many small towns are stuck in it, where in order to make those short-term economic transactions happen, you have to add more parking. You have to sacrifice place in order to have this anti-place parking. And of course, you get stuck because the thing that brings people to town, the thing that makes it all work, the thing that actually is tax base is not parking lots, it's stuff, it's buildings, it's offices, it's business, it's houses. So the challenge we've got is, how do we add more stuff? How do we add more place? How do we add more offices and retail and homes without it requiring more parking from us? How do we actually grow our tax base? And the answer to that question is that you do it. Well, let's put it this way. You do it, in a sense, incrementally over time. Kind of the default way to do it is, let's go build a big parking ramp, and then we'll have a big development around it. And what we see is that you can generate that like in one place. You might be able to subsidize the heck out of it. You might be able to make that work. But generally, those kind of things are kind of moonshots that don't really turn out the way people hope they would turn out. What will work a lot better, and what I hope they do here in this beautiful little town of Amesbury, is you start working on the problem incrementally, right? You recognize that what we are going to do is we are going to exchange one problem for another. The problem we have now is that we don't have enough tax base, we don't have enough community wealth, we don't have enough jobs, we don't have enough stuff going on to actually sustain all the promises that we've made. Promises to provide police protection and fire protection, to maintain all these roads, run sewer and water all over the place, to do all the stuff that we're expected to do. We don't have enough tax base. We got to fix that problem. The other problem we got to fix is that we have this housing crisis. We need to build more homes, particularly homes on the starter end of the spectrum, because people can't afford to live here. People would like to live here. We'd like people to be able to come back, and who grew up here, come back and live here. They can't. They have a hard time. We need to build a lot more homes. Those are the two problems we're trying to solve. In exchange for that, we are willing to take on a different struggle, a different problem. And that problem is, we are willing to have slightly less convenient parking. We are willing to accept a little bit of tension around not having a super convenient place to park. Or let me put it a different way. We are willing to accept slightly less convenience in parking in order to address both our fiscal crisis and our housing crisis. This is a trade-off we should be willing to make all day, right? All day. Now, the problem is that the parking problem seems urgent, right? I'm driving around, I can't find a place to park. That's annoying. The housing crisis is more like a chronic thing. The budget crisis is more of a chronic thing. So these are things we're dealing with over the long term that we're trying to solve. We have to kind of be able to enunciate that this is the trade-off. We are trading one problem, or two problems in this case, a financial problem that is strangling us and a housing crisis that is strangling us for another problem. And that other problem is slightly less convenient parking. The reality is Amesbury is like almost every city in North America where there is an abundance of parking and not enough housing. This should be a trade we'd be willing to make day after day after day in every city in North America.